Most High, whose mercy keeps the planets from falling, behold the offering of a heart that longs to mirror your rhythm. Adoration fills the air like incense in a temple at dawn, for your wisdom scouts the terrain ahead, while mortal vision sees only the bend. Praise, because nothing escapes the orbit of your providence, not the sparrow flickering against the sky, not the hair counted and forgotten by the mirror. Praise, because your counsel outlives empires and carries the small through corridors of change. In this sanctuary of breath and bone, let gratitude spill for work that precedes awareness, for pathways laid at night, for nets mended while the boats were empty. Majesty belongs to you, whose silence is not vacancy, but fertile hush, whose stillness is not apathy, but authority sitting enthroned. Here the soul bows lower than yesterday, surrendering the itch to control the choreography, yielding outcomes to the composer who writes with measures that heal. Move, O Redeemer, through the scaffolding of hidden construction. Raise beams of joy where grief framed the house. Pour foundations with patience that does not crack beneath the freeze. Install windows of discernment that admit just enough light to walk by without blinding pride. Spread a roof of peace that keeps the weather but lets in the song of rain. Furnish these rooms with courage that won't vacate when thunder speaks. In the hallway of delay, set a bench where hope may sit without shame, and learn the art of breathing through the count of your timing. In the cellar of memory, where old failures stack like crates, strike a match of mercy and read the labels with compassion until accusations lose their ink. In the attic of imagination, dust off dreams and test them against your heart, keeping only what makes love grow tall. Gardener of beginnings, tend the furrows that ache for harvest. Water what has not yet broken the crust. Lay compost of old sorrows on new soil and make it food for tomorrow's laughter. Prune what steals strength, though it flowers loudly. Teach the vine to cling not to fences, but to your faithful trellis. When the season feels stalled, remind the roots that seasons also move underground and that winter is a cradle where sugars gather for spring. When locusts come in the form of rumors and setbacks, raise a hedge of quiet around the field and let restoration come sevenfold in the language only heaven speaks. Over every seed of obedience place a sentry of angels, and over every tender shoot place a veil from scorching comparison. Then when the time is ripe, let harvest arrive with joy that does not apologize for surviving. Watchmen of the night, set lamps along the walls of this city of flesh. Keep vigil when eyelids fail. Patrol the alleys where anxiety prowls, the rooftops where fatigue collapses, the gates where old temptations knock with new names. Sound your trumpet against despair, dressed as realism. Whisper countersongs against headlines that hiss like serpents. Teach the soul to keep the night watch without bitterness, to hold a psalm between the teeth like bread, to pace the ramparts with stories of deliverance etched upon the palms. And when morning edges the horizon, let the sentinel declare not merely survival, but the increase of grace that came while darkness believed it owned the street. Midwife of promised things, steady the trembling while new birth crowns beneath pressure. Place a hand in the small of the back and another under the burden, and say, push with hope. Break waters of provision at the appointed hour. Cut cords that have fed fear and tie off the bleeding with kindness. Lay the new gift upon the chest of destiny and teach this heart how to hold without clutching. For pain has a way of telling lies about endings. Teach it the vocabulary of beginnings. For transition cramps the will and clouds the room. Bring a breeze from the mountain of your presence. And when the cry comes, let it be strong, not merely that a thing has arrived, but that the giver has been glorified. Architect of the long road, draw lines true and plumb. Align motives with mercy, choices with charity, strength with gentleness, influence with humility. Where the blueprint included walls built from suspicion, erase them. Where the plan forgot windows toward the poor, add them. Where the staircase led only upward toward platforms, reroute it toward basements, where washing basins wait. Write in the margins notes of Sabbath so the house learns how not to collapse beneath usefulness. Stamp the seal of your name on every beam, so thieves know it is guarded, and so fear knows it cannot evict the rightful owner. By the mystery of the cross and the laugh of the empty tomb, let courage be distilled. Let the wounds of Christ teach the wounds of this life, that suffering is not sovereign. Let the grave's brief tenancy testify that endings must bow to the first and the last. In every silence that stretches like a desert noon, send the cloud by day. In every chill that creeps like midnight, send the fire by night. In every courtroom where accusation rehearses its case, seat an advocate whose scars undo the prosecution. In every hospital where machines hum their frail lullabies, smuggle in peace that does not require guarantees. In every workplace where the grind sands the soul thin, mix oil with dust and make a new kind of clay that remembers Eden's breath. Now raise thanksgiving from the earth like a green shoot through concrete. For interventions seen and mercies secret, for rerouted dangers and postponed storms, for friendships that stood like pillars and strangers who arrived like parables, gratitude sings. For the closed opportunity that kept a life from harm, for the delay that matched a better hour, for the weakness that introduced the strength that never breaks, gratitude bows. For the word that returns with wildflowers in its arms, for the Spirit who translates tears into petitions, for the Father whose calendar cannot forget a single promise, gratitude kneels. And within this kneeling, confession ascends not as slogan, but as oxygen. God is working. In the library of silence, in the factory of stillness, in the corridors where minutes echo and answers seem late, God is working. Let every breath agree. Let every step habitually align until the life itself becomes a whispered doxology that the world can overhear and be warmed. Amen.